I'm going to give you some strategies of maintaining this possibility mindset. I want you to write down mindset maintenance. Mindset maintenance. Let me share something with you. The easiest thing that I do every year is to live my dream. That is, helping people to realize their potential, to step into their greatness, challenging themselves, reinventing themselves, to start their own businesses. I've helped over 400 people earn millions of dollars. The easiest thing I do every year is what I do on a day-to-day basis, going into prisons and juvenile detention centers, teaching young people mindset development, how to become effective communicators, how to dress like a prospect rather than a suspect. Those are the easy things that I do. Let me share with you the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my life, and that was to believe that I could do it. That's the most difficult thing that I've ever done in my entire life. All of us are self-made. We'll only be successful, they admit it. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Your mind is a machine. You must program yourself for success. Wow. When I heard those words, I said, wait a minute. I can program my mind for success. I can program my mind for wealth. You can too. Trust me. I've earned over $55 million in the last 28 years. Anybody told me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now? I spoke recently in Sweden. They paid me 40,000 euro for an hour's speech. I had no idea that this restaurant that you now see had the ability to do that. I used to work for the mining sanitation department as a garbage collector. I used to be a janitor. I used to do door-to-door sales. I used to work for Sears in Miami on Biscayne Boulevard. I had no idea this restaurant that you now see had the ability one day to give lectures at Harvard, Yale, or Dartmouth University. I had no idea what to impress upon you. There is more in you. Simba, there's more in you than you have been expressing. All of us have seen Lion King, some great symbols in there. And I say to you, there's more in you right now that's represented in your bank account. There's more in you right now that's being reflected by your life right now. Your life is not a true reflection of your potential. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. There's a reason that my favorite book says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And as he continues to think, so he remains. In order for us to begin to break into that level of greatness that we have within ourselves, you have to make a conscious choice every day to expose your mind to positive messages. So I put myself on a regimen. I do this every day, and I suggest that you do it. Write this down. Number one, listen to motivational messages every day. If you are choosing your future, a set of tapes or CDs that we produce, or creating your greatest life, I guarantee you, if you do what I'm sharing with you right now, for 6 straight months, every day, your life will never be the same again. I guarantee it 100%. You listen every day for 1 hour to creating your greatest life, any of those messages, because faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. What it will begin to do is interrupt the story in your mind. It will override the story that you believe about yourself. It will distract all the negative thoughts that you have that's holding you back, that held me back for 14 years. When I used to go see the #1 motivational speaker on the planet, Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, and my heart said, I can do that. I love to help people. I'm just like my mother. And then my mind would ask how. And I went from my heart to my mind. And my mind would say, Les Brown, you don't have a college education. Les Brown, you never worked for a major corporation. Les Brown, you were labeled educable mental retarded. They call you DT, the dumb twin. You're not as smart as your brother. Have you ever thought about something you wanted to do and you convinced yourself that you couldn't do it? See, sometimes we need to have some external voices. And so by listening to motivational messages, that began to override the negative thoughts that I had about myself in my mind. And it gave me a new story and empowered me and gave me a vision of myself beyond my circumstances and mental conditioning and started me to writing a new chapter in my life. And so now, money will never be another issue for me. And that was an issue for most of my life, because I didn't know what I didn't know and I thought I knew. So what you have to do is that you have to have mindset development strategy where you are deliberately taking an hour every day listening to a motivational message. Every day. Here's something else. Read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. Why? And read it with conviction and stay focused. 10 to 15 pages every day. This is 7 days a week? Absolutely. Absolutely. Every day. McDonald's know that you know where they are. Burger King know that you know where they are, but every day they have some advertising. They have billboards, they have radio, they have television. Why? Because by exposing you to those messages, that will begin to impact your behavior. It will drive you into the place to purchase what they're advertising. So you want to listen to positive messages every day. You do this, I'm telling you, your life will never be the same again. And read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. I read 2 to 3 books a week. Why? Because I have goals and dreams of things I want to achieve. I want my life to count. I want to make a greater impact. At this stage of my life, I'm working on my children's education. A good man leaves a legacy for his children's children. So I'm working on their education at this point in my life. And as I begin to look at myself, in order to achieve more, to do more, I know I have to work more on my mind. And let me give you an example of how this works. The most money I've ever earned in an hour and a half, $260,000. That's the most money I've ever earned in an hour and a half. A lot of people work a whole month and don't do that, or 6 months. Then, here, this is the next thing I want you to do. I want you to look at your relationships, and I want you to upgrade your relationships. See, MIT did a study. This study indicated that you earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. Not only did I start reading books every day and listening to positive messages, but I separated myself from my friends who did not have goals and who did not have dreams. Why? Because people rub off on you. It's called a mind virus. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. So when you upgrade your relationships, you got to ask yourself the question, who is it that I need to associate with, that I can learn from, that I can grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially? By aligning myself with another person that I can learn from. And Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said, if you're the smartest one in your group, you need to get a new group. Whoa, think about that. I was the smartest one in my group. Then one person called me who had been admiring me for years and said, Les, I want you to coach me and my trainers on how to tell a story and create value for an audience. And I want to share with you some things. I want to teach you some things, old man. I said, is that right? He said, yes. You always say you're never too old to learn. You have to look at your relationships, and you've got to ask yourself the question, what is this relationship doing to me? And I mean in every area of your life. When the doctor looked at me and said, you have cancer. Cancer is the most feared word in 7 different languages. One of the first things I had to do, I found out who had cancer at some point in time or was living with cancer and conquered it. I surrounded myself with people who had done what I wanted to do, who were winning at the game. See, it's very important, every area of your life. If you want to improve your health, start hanging around healthy people. They did a 30-year study and said that the reason that most people are obese, it's a mind virus. Listen to what they said. A mind virus is communicated mind to mind. That if you have a friend that's fat or you marry somebody that's obese, you have a 41% to up to 161% of becoming obese yourself, even if they live in another state. Because birds of a feather flock together. Never forget, high school teacher Mr. Leroy Washington said, Mr. Brown, if you run around with 9 broke people, I guarantee you'll become number 10. Whoa. Think about that. Part of your mindset development, not only listening, not only reading, but you have got to look at your relationships, upgrade your relationships, and continue to evaluate them and make sure they're an asset to you and not a liability. My son John Wesley is a motivational speaker. He has a saying, who should you count on and who should you count out? See, there's some relationships that can start out real positive, and then sometimes we outgrow people. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever outgrown someone? Somebody you used to be close to, used to be your bosom buddy, and then you haven't been together for a time, and then when you get together, you have absolutely nothing in common. Sometimes that happens with family members. My twin brother. It's a strained conversation because he's talking about, Les, did you hear who died? No, I don't get up reading the obituary column. I'm glad my name is not there. Hello? I don't care. I'm focusing on living. Our conversations are so different. Isn't it interesting how you could be raised in the same family, same circumstances, by the same parents and end up dramatically different? It's called life. Here's the other thing that's very important. Write down the goals that you want to achieve. Write them down. Put them on a 3x5 card, and I want you to use the King James Version Bible in Matthew 7:7. Ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. I want you to write that on one side of the card. On the flip side of the card, I want you to write down one major goal that you want to achieve, and you want to read that 3 times a day. 3 times a day. What are you doing? You're hypnotizing yourself, and you're dehypnotizing yourself. What you're doing is you are dispelling the myths and all the spells that you're living under. I think that a poverty mindset is a spell. I think that people go so far, and because they're mesmerized by life, they unconsciously stop. And you have to break that spell by constant attention. So on one side you read your goal. You have one major goal, 3 times a day. Then the flip side, you flip that scripture over. Ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be given unto you. As you read that every day, 3 times a day, I can tell you, amazing things, breakthroughs will happen for you. Now, we're going to take a break right now, and I want you to take the time to think about this one thing. What is it that you're going to do differently? Because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. You've got to be willing to give up who you've been to give birth to who you can become. I want you to take the time and write down one radical change that you're going to make about you, and you know if you do that, your life will never be the same again. This is Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy Les Brown. We're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. I hope you took some time to really go within because, see, no one knows you like you. You know what it is that you need to work on. I mean, one of my main issues that I had to dramatically change about myself was I had to develop courage. I used to go see people do things. I saw speakers on stage. My heart would say, I can do that. But I didn't have the courage to stand up for myself. For 14 years, I procrastinated. For 14 years, I kept myself as a spectator sitting on the sidelines. And then I saw a speaker, and he was so boring, the room was as quiet as a graveyard between funerals. And I said, whoa, if he can do it, I know I can do it. And because I saw what he did, and his brother-in-law was sitting next to me, and he said, you ought to be that boring and earn the kind of money he earned. I said, how much do they pay? He said, $5,000. I said, $5,000? He's only been talking for about 45 minutes or an hour. He says, that's how much they make. Now, I wasn't earning $5,000 a month. I said, wait a minute. If he can do that, I know I can do that. Have you ever done that before? He gave me courage. And so at that moment, now that was a decision. I didn't have to have this example of somebody that was less talented than I was to give me the courage. I should have had the courage to stand up myself, to believe in my own stuff. The truth of the matter is, I didn't. And I can't unscramble those things. I cannot pull those years back. I cannot recapture those 14 years. Maybe that's why my favorite book says, forgetting those things which are behind, which are important to those things which are important. And that's what I do. That's what I do every day. I have to continue. I remember going in to do a presentation before a group of educators. I was the only one there without a college degree. And I had to talk to myself. I learned from the bathroom. I said, let me tell you something. What do you care about the fact they have MBAs and PhDs? That only mean how high and deep to you. They're not any disrespect for credentials. They're very important. But I had to get myself together. Hey, look here, you can't go in there worrying about what they have. Just bring what you have. You got 7 children you got to take care of. You got a mother you have to take care of. And you have something to say. You have some talents. You have some abilities. You've got to believe in yourself. You got to stand up. You can't punk out now. You can't fold now. See, sometimes you have to talk to yourself. It might be the most intelligent conversation you will ever have, talking to yourself. So that radical change, it doesn't happen overnight. You can make the decision, but you got to stay on top of yourself every day to come from and live your life from a place of power, courage, and faith, as opposed to being a volunteer victim, as most people are, volunteer victims. Here's something else. Get an accountability partner. It's someone that's like you, a like-minded, like-hearted person, that you have similar goals and dreams, and you hold each other accountable, and you talk with each other on a regular basis. And if you can, join a mastermind group of other supportive mindsets of individuals who are working to improve themselves and stretching and challenging themselves. And here's something else, a worthwhile investment. Find yourself a coach. Find someone in your